Okay, let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come and serve you once again. We ask that as we prepare to get started, that your grace will be with us. Give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from on high, in Jesus' holy name. Amen. I just want to say welcome one and all. Our topic of discussion this evening is digestive aches and pain. What are we talking about? We're talking about acid reflux, we're talking about gas, bloating, indigestion, heartburn, hiatal hernia, belching, burping, farting, H. pylori. That's what we're talking about. We are talking anything that you can think of that concerns digestion. We'll be addressing that. As a matter of fact, I have numerous stories to share as we prepare to get started. I remember a few years back, I had a chance to do some presentation. There's a good friend of mine that I did not know was suffering from digestive issue. He mentioned to me that he had had acid reflux for over 30 years. And after listening to my lecture, he decided to implement the information that he heard. Within a few days, that issue that he struggled with for 30 plus years, he was able to rectify in less than a week. I know that there are individuals that will be listening to this lecture who have been struggling with digestive issue for a long time, and you have come to the conclusion that there's absolutely no hope or there's nothing you can do other than following the traditional protocol with the drugs and the medication. Well, I'm here to tell you there are additional protocols that one can follow. As a matter of fact, when we put individuals on the plan, normally within 3 days or less, we're able to stabilize all of the digestive issues and get full control. The only thing that may require a lot more work is if someone has issues such as leaky gut, gluten intolerance, and so forth. You will start seeing results immediately because of the digestive changes that you would have made. However, it takes a little while to stabilize the gut in its entirety, depending on the severity of the damage. So, I personally had issues with digestive issue, had numerous issues. As a matter of fact, I remembered when I moved to the Caribbean, having been away from the Caribbean for a good while. I remember, and my diet was a very clean diet. I was one who ate, mainly organic products, but, pretty clean diet. And I remember that I was doing my exercise, but the pain that I was experiencing was out of this world. I had chronic pains in my joint. Couldn't understand where this debilitating pain was coming from. And, I fully aware of digestive protocol, fully aware of changes that needs to be made. So I decided to even tighten up even more on an already tight diet. But yet still, the pain was still coming. The pain was consistent. And I figured that I had to make some additional changes. I decided at that time to open up myself to a gluten-free diet. And lo and behold, when I went on the gluten-free diet, I got some relief, but still tremendous amount of pain. And I was wondering, what could be going on? And it was like the Lord impressed upon me, look at the oats. And lo and behold, oats was like a primary staple of my diet before I went total plant-based. But after I went total plant-based, oats became even more of a primary staple. And lo and behold, it was the oats that was my culprit. Not even the gluten-free oats by the major manufacturers I was able to use. I was actually deadly allergic to oats. And as a matter of fact, I knew I had some intolerant to oats already, because what I would realize in the past is that, let's say I eat oats for breakfast, my stomach would, try to tolerate it a little. But if I eat oats for lunch, have it for breakfast and have it for lunch, or anything with oats for breakfast and anything with oats for lunch, my stomach would go in utter disarray. My stomach would be just absolutely out of control, and the type of gas that would come from me was just absolutely, deadly, simply because of the fact that my stomach was just, it really needed help. And lo and behold, I realized that oats was an issue, but I didn't realize it was this big of an issue. It became so big of an issue that anytime I eat it, the pain was absolutely crippling in my joints. And I just got to say thank the Lord for opening my eyes to that, because after I realized and I made the changes, almost instantaneously the pain ceased, and progressively over time the stomach was able to be healed, where I'm able today to tolerate oats after healing and sealing the gut. And I can eat oats for breakfast and eat oats for lunch without experiencing the issues that I did experience years back. So I just want to tell you, I'm excited right now to be actually doing this presentation. I remember also too, a client of mine actually invited me to their home because they have a son, and whenever the son eats food in general, he would have to lay flat on the ground and could not move until that meal has gotten to some level of digestion. I sat with him, I dealt with his issue, and lo and behold, by the next day, he was able to eat and move at the same time. Where in the past, he would eat, I would have to lay on the ground several hours before he was able to move. So we're going to sit down and, in a systematic manner, we're going to break this thing down. We're going to deal with all forms of digestive aches and pains. We're going to deal with the acid reflux. We're going to deal with the gastritis. We're going to deal with the gas, the bloating, the indigestion, the heartburn, the hiatal hernia, the belching, burping, farting, H. pylori. We're going to deal with it all. I just thought I'd start off by sharing a few testimonies as we go in to such a broad topic. It is a pretty broad topic, but by God's grace, we're going to break this thing down. And as we go into this world, you're going to find the simple things, such simple things can actually throw off the balance within the system. But once the system is stable, you'll find that you'll be able to have health and have it more abundantly. Usually there is a balance in the stomach between the acidic gastric juices and the protective regenerative nature of the stomach lining. The normal pH in the human body is between 7.35 to 7.45 with an average of 7.4. When this balance is thrown off, the stage is set for the development of a number of diseases which can become chronic. Some of these conditions are an enlarged stomach, or some people may say a distended stomach. You'll find that individuals who tend to have major digestive issue, they will tend to have a distended or an enlarged stomach because of the gases that are being formed in the stomach during the digestive issues. You have bloatedness, acid reflux, indigestion, acidosis, peptic ulcers, gastritis, GERD, that's gastroesophageal reflux disease, hiatal hernia, insufficient stomach acid, stomach cancer, and more. I remember I was in Florida, and I was helping one of the top nurses there in Florida, and as she and I began working with each other, she shared with me that she was scheduled for stomach surgery by the end of the week. I said, well, guess what, nurse? If you're scheduled by the end of the week, why don't you give me an opportunity to work with you and we'll see what the result will come back. I sat with her, put her on the program, and lo and behold, by the end of the week, when she decided to go, that they can prep her for surgery, when they looked at her system, the issue that she had was rectified within 1 week. So she no longer required surgery. So just by guiding her and telling her what to do, when to do, and how to do it, in less than 1 week, we're able to avoid the surgery in its entirety by making these lifestyle changes. That same nurse, she shared a couple of stories with me, and one of the stories that she shared with me is that her dad had passed a few years prior. And when I asked what caused the dad's death, she says that his stomach stopped absorbing nutrients, and as a result, he just actually died right then and there. And she said that she was concerned that her stomach was doing the same thing. And so by the time I sat with her and kind of guided through from a digestive standpoint what to do, when to do, and how to do it, she was so confident that she still had years left on the table, that, you know, she would not die like how her dad did because of lack of understanding in terms of managing the digestive system. Acid reflux is a burning sensation in the stomach caused from indigestion or too much acid in the stomach, or a backup of digestive juices in the esophagus. If you have severe heartburn or heartburn 2 or more times a week, you may have a condition called GERD, that's gastroesophageal reflux disease, and you should see a doctor, or you should see your gospel medical missionary. Without treatment, chronic GERD can cause inflammation, ulcers, scarring. Okay, I remember a young lady came to me, and one of the things about digestive issue comes, you know, like a dime a dozen. This young lady, when she came to me, her situation was so bad that she had scarring from her throat all the way down into her stomach. That's how bad her situation is, because of not adhering to some simple principle that actually caused such a severe condition. GERD can also lead to changes in the cell's lining, the esophagus. These changes raise the risk of esophageal cancer. Symptoms. You have ailments of the stomach, may have symptoms which include burning, like a burning pain, heartburn, which may worsen after eating a meal, irritation, abdominal pain, difficulty in swallowing, increased belching, burping, farting, as well as vomiting. You also have nausea, headaches, stomach bleeding. Where blood is digested, it results in a dark and tarry stool, as well as bad breath. I remember, and you'll find that I have plenty stories in this area, but I will tell stories as I see that it is relevant to what is being discussed. I remember a young lady came to me, and she says, you know, Mr. Luke, you know, I'm married, but my breath is absolutely horrific. It is bad. It is real, real bad. And I said, so do you know the cause? She says, no, but I was hoping to come to you and you can help me with that. I said, well, the primary cause of that pungent or that strong breath that someone may have, a lot of the time it has to do with digestive issues. And once we stabilize the digestive system, you'll find that the strong breath from that fermentation that takes place in the gut will tend to completely go away. Well, I sat with that young lady, put her on the plan, and lo and behold, I can tell God's children that are listening right now, in less than 30 days, that young lady's breath was as fresh as peppermint. You know, and it's just by teaching her some basic principles when it comes to digestion. She was able to implement that which was taught, and the healing came, and it came very fast. Let's continue. Causes of digestive aches and pain. You have fermentation, irritation of the stomach, as well as drug medication can cause indigestion and acid reflux type condition. So fermentation, irritation of the stomach, and drug medication can cause indigestion and acid reflux type condition. Life changes will also help correct these stomach problems. It would be wise, therefore, to practice the right habits to avoid these disturbing effects. The following principles need to be considered when seeking to resolve these stomach conditions. You'll find that individuals who tend to eat too fast, that's the shoveling down the food. You know, maybe you should have a small or short time on your lunch break, and you're just trying to just stuff the system to see how much you can get in. Remember this, in order to secure healthy digestion, food should be eaten slowly. If your time to eat is limited, do not bolt your food, but eat less and thoroughly masticate slowly. Those who are excited, anxious, or in a hurry would do well not to eat until they have found rest or relief, for the vital powers already severely tasked cannot supply the necessary digestive fluids. Food should be eaten slowly and should be thoroughly masticated. This is necessary in order that the saliva may be properly mixed with the food and the digestive fluids be called into action. Eating on the go. This is the shoveling principle. Always eating in a hurry, shoveling food down is also a no-no. If you want to tame heartburn, you gotta change this habit. Slow down when you eat if you're concerned about heartburn symptoms. At mealtime, cast off all your care and troubling thoughts. Do not feel hurried, but eat slowly and with cheerfulness. Overeating, this applies even to good food. The habit of overeating or of eating too many kinds of food at one meal frequently causes dyspepsia, or you can say indigestion. And now, I just want to let you know, we'll be getting back to this word, too many kinds. You see that word kinds? We'll be getting back to that word right there, because that word plays a major role in terms of digestion. When you see individuals like to mix a broad variety of items together, naturally it's going to cause indigestion. So we will address that shortly. Overeating also causes digestive organs to be weakened and disease, as well as headache, colic, excessive blood to the brain, depression, and feeling of hunger. So we're going to make sure that even though the food might be good, that you do not abuse it by overeating. Eating meals too close together. You're going to find that there's a proper spacing that has to be given between each meals. If that proper spacing is not given, you are likely to have digestive issue. And the proper spacing, I will read it to you shortly so you will understand what's the proper spacing like and how often one will need to do such a spacing. So after the regular meal is eaten, the stomach should be allowed to rest for at least 5 hours. So now, Saints, let me ask you a question. How much spacing needs to be between each meal? A minimum of 5 hours is what's required. But you can go 6 or even more, but you just got to make sure you properly space the meal, you eat on schedule, on time, at all times. Let's repeat that. You're going to eat on schedule, on time, at all times in order to secure optimum health. It says here, in no case should the meals be irregular. If dinner is eaten an hour or two before the usual time, the stomach is unprepared for the new burden, for it has not yet disposed of the food eaten at the previous meal and has not vital force for new work. Thus, the system is overtaxed. Eating between meals, this weakens the stomach. Not a particle of food should be introduced into the stomach until the next meal. In this interval, the stomach will perform its work and will then be in a condition to receive more food. So remember this, not a particle of food should be introduced into the stomach until the next meal. In this interval, the stomach will perform its work and will then be in a condition to receive more food. Drink only water between meals. Drink only water between meals. Okay? So remember that. Only water between meals. If you put juices between meals, the juices have to be digested. They have to be absorbed in order for you to get the nutrients and the best result. And the body will treat that one juice or that one drink as a meal. So you're likely to have acid reflux. Okay? Avoiding late night snacks. Avoiding what? Late night snacks. The stomach, when we lie down to rest, should have its work all done, that it may enjoy rest as well as other portions of the body. The work of digestion should not be carried on through any period of the sleeping hours. So, as we are listening on, it is important that we understand that the work of digestion should not be carried on through any period of the sleeping hours. So, all that pertains to digestion, you want to make sure that all of those situations are fully rectified before we go into evening hours. There's a research done by UC Pines Institute, and it was done on meal spacing as well as the digestive system. And I just want to take a moment to share the information that was extracted from that research that was done. It says here, physicians at UC Pines Institute, they X-ray studies on the digestion time of food. Breakfast meal consisted of cereal with cream, bread, cooked fruit, and an egg. 4.5 hours later, the stomach completely empty. Okay? A few days later, same exact breakfast, but was given a snack 2 hours after each main meal. And here is the result. Now, person number 1, breakfast 7 a.m., no snack. Basically, the stomach emptied in 4.5 hours. So, without any snack, the stomach went on, did its work, and completely emptied in 4.5 hours. Person number 2, breakfast 7 a.m., ice cream cone 2 hours later. They had residue in the stomach after 6 hours. So the stomach did not completely empty, because while it is aiding with the digestion of food, new food is at the same time being brought in. So there have to be a level of balance in dealing with this situation. So person number 2, breakfast 7 a.m., 2 hours later an ice cream cone. Result, residue in the stomach after 6 hours. Just wanted to clarify that. Let's go to person number 3, breakfast 7 a.m., 2 hours later, peanut butter sandwich 2 hours after the meal. Now, you got to remember now, what are we dealing with here? We are dealing with fats. Okay? So it's peanut butter sandwich, and you will see the difference and the dramatic effect that fats will have on the digestive system if it's not dealt with the right way. Let's go on here. Residue after 9 hours, okay? So the peanut butter sandwich was given 2 hours after, and there was residue in the stomach 9 hours later. Person number 4, breakfast 7 a.m. 2 hours later, a pumpkin pie and a glass of milk. Residue after 9 hours was in the stomach. Someone said, but why? Well, glass of milk, we're dealing with milk fat, you know, and it kind of gives you an idea how much fat technically is in the milk, the cow's milk. It's enough to take a normal sized little calf and blow that calf up into several thousand pounds in terms of weight eventually. Person number 5, breakfast 7 a.m., a half slice of bread and butter repeated every 1.5 hour interval and no dinner. More than half of the morning breakfast was in the stomach 9 hours later. What was the result? More than half of the morning breakfast was in the stomach 9 hours later. Person number 6, breakfast 7 a.m., 2 hours later, and this is a woman's best friend, but you're going to see some problems here, okay? Twice in the morning and twice in the afternoon, a bite. The person didn't eat the whole, but a bite of chocolate candy. What was the result? 13.5 hours later, more than 1/2 of the morning meal was still in the stomach. So 13.5 hours later, more than 1/2 of the morning meal was still in the stomach, okay? So as you can see, okay, by snacking in between meals, it can delay digestion, depending on what you snack with, as much as 13.5 hours, okay, or even more, because with person number 6, what they found was 13.5 hours later, more than 1/2 of the morning meal was still in the stomach. So it kind of lets you know, depending on what you snack with, it can delay digestion tremendously. Okay, let's go to fruits and vegetables. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. Genesis 1:11. Eating vegetables and fruits at the same meal is problematic. Remember this, Genesis 1:11 defines a fruit as fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, and vegetables do not have seed within themselves, but fruits do. So, very simple principle there. Remember this now, fruits and vegetables taken at one meal produce acidity of the stomach. So, you'll find that if you mix fruits and vegetables, not only will it produce acidity, it will cause the distended stomach, it will cause an enlargement of one's stomach. Eating overripe or spoiled fruit is a no-no. You know, we tend to save these overripe banana for banana fritters, banana pudding, and different things along that line. But you got to remember now that when something is overripe, there is a danger to eating overripe species. And we will address that so you can understand it is not good practice for you to eat overripe or spoiled items. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let me read here for you. Nicely prepared vegetables and fruits in their season will be beneficial if they are of the best quality, not showing the slightest sign of decay, but are sound and unaffected by any disease or decay. More die by eating decayed fruit and decayed vegetables, which ferment in the stomach and result in blood poisoning, than we have any idea of. Overripe food and spoiled food can cause fermentation in the stomach, and this is poisonous as it changes to formaldehyde in the body. So you got to be careful. Do not consume any overripe food or spoiled food in any of its setting. Eating fruits at the end of a meal is a recipe for digestive issues also too. So you eat fruits and vegetables at the start of a meal, not the end of the meal, as in desserts, as some usually do. Eating raw food before the cooked food is eaten prevents the formation of inflammation in the intestines. You know, many people have this statement, melon alone or leave it alone. I'm here to tell you that that is not a correct statement. What the issue is that melon digests very fast. Because melon digests very fast, you want to send melon way ahead so it can start its digestive process, and then behind we can come and tide things up from, just making sure that things are in order the way it needs to be. Okay, so this statement, melon alone or leave it alone, that is not a correct statement. Just that melon products needs to go first, and once they go first, you give them about a 15-minute spacing depending on how much you eat. If you eat a lot, you got to give that 15 to 20-minute spacing. If you don't eat much, just a small amount, you can actually just go right ahead and continue eating your food. Okay, so melon should especially be avoided at the end of a meal. If eaten at the start of a meal, wait 15 to 30 minutes before eating your solids, and that's because of the high water content that you'll find in the melons. This is one of my favorite areas here to actually address. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause right here because this is sweet, and I don't want to come short on this specific area, because this topic right here, eating bread which was not well baked, is a very, very good topic, and I want to make sure that I get the most out of this topic for God's children. So we're going to stop right here with this one, and in that way